you can go through different rhythms. So if you want to get like really into the minutia of ACLS, you can do different rhythms. So that way you can test your people on like, what's this rhythm? Is this a shockable rhythm? What type of rhythm is it? Just because it's one of those things where we all do EKG and occasionally we forget what those rhythms are. So if you get up to the floor and it's like been a hot Mississippi since you read a rhythm, you're like, ooh, I don't know. This machine is pretty nice in the sense that it has a defib mode. And so just put it in defib mode. And basically the defibrillator mode will basically read rhythms for you. We don't like to utilize this during a code just because this only reads about 10% of shockable rhythms. Whereas like someone who's been trained as ACLS certified, they can go through and more quickly analyze the rhythm versus like this machine right here, okay? So during this code, I'll get this hooked up so that way we can go and run this. When you guys are downstairs, are you guys setting it up for a operative setting or just in general mock codes or?
All of the above. We're gonna do them in PACU right after this.
Okay, PACU, okay. Because I know it's way different back in the OR doing a code versus like PACU versus up on the floor in that sense. So, all right, let me just get my pads hooked up. So when we go and do this, obviously we have pads here in the hospital that we use for a code. You won't have this box, okay? I only use this box so that way I can show you guys a rhythm that's shockable. So it's a little cumbersome when it comes to get this off the cart. I just want to let you know, okay? So ideally, our pads, they'll come like this. These are expired pads. In our pads, they come split up like this, which is pretty cool. You get a hockey puck right over here. This hockey puck is basically going to help the sensor make sure that you're doing the right compressions at the right depth, but also that you have correct hand placement. When it comes to this, it has a triangle on here. When it comes to placing it, you're going to place the X over the center of the chest, the mid-nipple line. Nature is not fun, so sometimes gravity adjusts that nipple line for patients, okay? So we're just gonna go on the imaginary nipple line when it comes to that right there. The big thing is a lot of times people think that I need to apply the triangle to the middle of the chest. It's the puck right there. That's where it's gonna go, and it's gonna sense the feedback. The other thing, the other one is the back of the pad. So we're going to sandwich the heart. This thing is pretty cool because it's biphasic. It can go through and it senses based off of the patient's density how much joules to apply. So we don't have to go through. If you've gone and you've done ACLS in the past, you had to increase your joules and stuff like that. This one, it automatically senses and adjusts the joules based off of how thick your patient is. So if you have a little skinny person, you don't have to worry about like nuking them. Same thing if you got a big old boy like me, you don't have to worry about like cranking that bad boy all the way up, okay? So for this one, I'm just gonna go through some of the features on the carts that we get accustomed to it. So we have here in our hospital, we have the Zoll. Has anybody ever used the Zoll before? You've used it? You've used it, okay. Some other facilities have different types of defibrillators. The Zoll is pretty cool in the sense that it has a lot of stuff figured out for you, so you don't have to do sort of a lot of the thinking. When it comes to taking it off of the cart, it has a plug in the back, right back here, that comes unplugged. The rest of these cords normally will be rolled up, and so that way it's easier to come off. But we use this routinely for education, so sometimes things don't get put back the way we're supposed to put them back. And I'm probably at fault for that. But anyways, when it comes to this guy, we're gonna hook him up. So we have this one right here. So if we turn on to gray, it's gonna turn on to monitor. It's gonna turn on to monitor mode. Think of this as like a gigantic X3. So on your PCU, ED, the monitors that are hooked up to the wall, when we transport those patients, we'll need a monitor. Sometimes supply in the hospital is limited. So if we don't have a monitor and we want to transport a patient to another floor, we can use this as the monitor to transport the patient to the floor. That's nice in the sense that if you see there's something going on in the elevator, you can switch it into defib and you can get the magic happening. When it's in defib mode, I'm going to hook it up to the machine and kind of show you what some of the features are, okay? So the big one that's on here, that's tangled up right now, is the CO2 sensor. The CO2 sensor, it hooks up to a special piece that's on the mask of the patient. that CO2 sensor can always be found in the top portion of this toolbox on every cart. It's going to be in this yellow portion right here. It'll have this sensor that's going to hook into here. It only allows it to go in one way. It's going to go arrow to arrow right over here. I'm going to pass around one of these so that way you guys can see it. It's real faint. They're on here just like that. But that's on the back of the sensor. It's going to have an arrow that matches up with that arrow right there. But it's designed so that way you don't have to put it in there wrong or what have you. So when you put it, you click it on there, it's going to work with your ambu bag. Your ambu bag's going to connect. So that way when you're doing compressions, it's going to let you know how well your patient is, one, being ventilated, but also two, to see if the patient is becoming more and more arousable, just because you're going to see a higher CO2 level on that patient. Obviously, for the simulation, Charlie doesn't have any lungs, so we can't pick up any CO2. However, when you're up on the floor, this is kind of a nice indicator as far as how well you're doing as far as compressions go. As we go over here, we have our training pads. Our training pads will hook up into our device right over here. And then I'll hook my device up to my defibrillator. And I'll break things as I go along the way. And it's usually when someone's recording me that I like to break things. Alright. So it goes into here, the training one will plug right into there, only goes in one way. And so as we have it in here, I can put it into there, and so that way we can go through and we can simulate different rhythms. And this guy is, there we go. So we have normal sinus rhythm that's going on, and then we could throw in different things in there. So that way we can know, we can see if something's shockable. As we go through here, and you're like, I have no idea what any of these squiggly lines mean. What is going on here? What is this witchcraft? There's this button right over here that says analyze. A lot of times people think, like, oh, when I have to go analyze and shock the patient, I press this analyze button. No, the analyze is going to turn it into the ACLS mode. So it's going to go through, it's going to turn it into basically where it's going to read and tell you what to do. So it'll tell you to press shock. We're going to make sure all clear. And then we'll shock, and then it'll walk you through. If you're not doing high quality compressions, it will start launching a metronome and be like burp, 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 to make sure that you get back into beat to the proper compressions. There is a diamond and a large sort of like rectangle on here. That diamond is going to let you know how well, as far as CPR you're doing. We're going to want to try to make sure that diamond is full as possible. When I hook this up to the patient here in a moment, you're going to see how long it takes to get that diamond back to where we're doing high quality CPR. So if we pause longer than 10 seconds, you actually see on the monitor how impactful that is, pausing longer than you need to. Of course, if we have it in AED mode, let the code team know when you come to respond, when they're coming to respond to the room, be like, hey, this is an AED mode. Because that way we can reset it. How to reset it is basically you'll go from defib, you'll turn it off, you'll turn it back on to defib. And then it resets it, and then it can be back into where it's in ACLS mode. ACLS mode basically means that I can go through, I will charge it, and then I can shock it. It won't like read it and that sort of stuff. If it's in ACLS mode, it will still tell you as far as like a metronome if you're going too slow in that sort of sense. Any questions regarding this guy? All right, cool. It's pretty cool because the CO2 monitor right over here, it's going to pick up. I'll breathe kind of like into this a little bit. Takes a while. I'm going to get like, okay.
See a rhythm or a
so
waveform.
It shows you your waveform, so it shows you your capnography. So if you, it also shows you kind of like the level that you have going on there. It gives you an indication as far as respirations. Obviously, if the patient is breathing on their own, we're getting some good sort of responses from our interventions as far as CPR goes. Like I said in the classroom, documentation is the most important thing. Try not to write on your pants or paper towel, gloves. Gloves is a big one. A lot of times people write on it. We have them right here. Okay, there's a whole bunch in all of them. So just kind of going around. An example would be like, you just basically do time and what you're doing. A lot of it's set up to just be where you can just write in the time and then check mark if you did it. Because it's a code, we don't want you to do like advanced algebra during a code. We just want to make sure that you know what's going on at what time and what was done, so that way when it goes back and you're making that nursing narrative note and you say see code sheet, they know they can go and see in there and it's quick and easy and can see what's going on. Alrighty, so we're gonna walk through.
Can I pull it out in here, or are you good?
What's that?
You're gonna pull that out?
Yeah, we're gonna pull that out a little bit. So we're gonna get Charlie set up here, and then I'm gonna pretend to be a person on the floor and responding to Charlie not responding. We put it right over here. We got a big group, so it's weird in this big and this small classroom as far as everything goes. This is Charlie right here. Charlie is something that can haunt your dreams and nightmares, but we're going to try to bring Charlie back to life. Obviously, we're doing hourly rounding on our patients to make sure our patients are all ready to go. So on our hourly round of Charlie, we realize Charlie's not responding. Normally Charlie's just like, oh, how's it going? I love doing X, Y, and Z. And you just come to the room and Charlie's just like this, just looking up at the ceiling. Obviously, something's not right with Charlie. So I go in there and I'm like, Charlie, you okay? You okay? She's not responding. Boom, hit that button. Please do not press that button. And then we're gonna check, oh, no pulse, and we're just gonna start doing CPR. Okay, as we're doing our CPR, we hit that code button. Our friends are gonna come in here, and obviously I'm not doing real compressions, but we're just doing CPR to get an idea of everything that's going. And then we're waiting for our friends to bring the code cart into the room. Once our friends bring our code cart in the room, oh, hi friend. She's gonna get some things set up to make sure our life's a little bit easier. She's gonna grab the Zoll monitor along with the pads. It's a little bit of a mess right now just because it's kind of a mess up there with Charlie and everything.
Charlie. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Great compressions, Pete.
But the big thing is when we're doing compressions on our patients, we want to make sure we have a backboard right here. So to make your life a lot easier when it comes to application of our pads, is we're going to have clear communication. So whenever she's ready to put this pad on front, she's going to let me know. I'm going to lift up my hands, and then she's going to throw it right on. We're going to need that puck, because that puck's going to belong to the...
I know
Oh, it's not? Okay.
It's Velcro. Never mind. I'm sticky.
Okay.
Pulling, so I'll put it
Alright.
in a second. Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
We're going back into it. Okay, so we try not to last very long when we're going to put it on there. Obviously, the ones up on the floor aren't going to be disconnected like that, and you can just go, and then you can get back into it. Okay. With our stuff, we use and abuse it a little bit. So.
Okay. And then I'm going to get ready to slide in my board and stick this other one in at the same time.
So
Oh, and they're sticky.
You ready?
If you can pull her up, I'll stick this one.
Sure thing. Just let me know. On the count of 3.
Yep.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
There we go. We're getting back into it.
Yep.
So if you come over here, circle around the bed and take a look at that diamond I was telling you about. And you can see how I'm slowly filling that diamond back up on the screen. Since it's sensing my compressions, it's like you're not doing
Good compression.
It's letting me know, hey, good compressions in that sense too. If I slow, you can see how quickly this diamond decreases right there. So we're got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it's closed. So when we're going back into it, it's letting me know how long for that diamond to fill back up. And that once that diamond's full, it's letting me know you're doing good compressions. All right, as I'm doing my compressions, my friend is going to take the headboard off of the bed.
Good compression.
And then we'll have our, they're hooking up the CO2 monitor on the bag valve mask. And we'll get everything ready to go as far as the CO2 monitor goes. And then usually by this time, when you have everything set up, that's when the code team arrives, okay? And when the code team arrives, that's when the provider will take over. If you need help, like, oh, you can help out with compressions. They'll be like, all right, help out with compressions. They'll stand right over there. When they're ready to do compressions, we go 1, 2, 3, and swap out and do compressions. That's it. When it comes to the breaths right over here, if you're having a hard time as far as breaths go, you're gonna just pause at that 2-minute checkpoint to do a pulse check. So you're gonna do a pulse check real quick for 10 seconds, and then you can help them. You can hold the mask, and then you can do their breaths that way. But when I was talking about that mannequin upstairs, the RQI mannequin, if you're having a hard time getting that seal, it goes in favor for people who have giant hands. I have gigantic mitts, it's great. But if you have little tiny hands, you're like, I hate these masks. Why can't I just have pediatric masks? They're awesome. But to help you out, basically, you're gonna put it right here, so line it with the bridge of the nose. You're gonna take the crotch of your hand right here, gonna put it right there, and then you're gonna grab the chin and then perform like a Kung Fu grip, like that, okay? It's gonna lift that chin up, and then you can provide breaths. Charlie doesn't have her lungs in, I took her lungs out. So normally you would see the chest rise up, okay? And then when the code teams arrives, they're gonna go through that algorithm that I handed out to you guys, and just making sure that we have everything squared away as far as our algorithm goes. All right, so, any questions? Sorry, I'm a lot. Okay, all right, we're gonna split up in 2 teams. Okay, team 1.